Trey, come on, man. I thought you was going to hang out with Micah for a little bit, man. What happened? You already on the move again? Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back in 30 seconds.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to the Scoreboard Keepers. You're around here, we'll keep the seats. We keep the score. So if you want to get on the board, make your point. If it makes sense, we'll add it to the board. If it don't, we won't. Scoreboard Keepers.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Scoreboard Keepers. I am your host, the Ref, where I keep you up to score in everything sports, hip-hop, and hot topics. Breaking news. Apparently, Trevon Diggs is on the move again. Apparently leaving Green Bay. And his homie, Micah Parsons, I thought you was going to hang around. He's on his way to the 12th man in Seattle. He's signed by the Seattle Seahawks, ladies and gentlemen. Former Dallas Cowboy and Green Bay Packers cornerback Trevon Diggs is set to get a fresh start in 2026 with the Seattle Seahawks. Diggs has agreed to a one-year deal with the Seahawks in free agency per ESPN's Adam Schefter. The Seahawks had $20.6 million in 2026 cap space remaining at the time of the deal. So I wonder how much of that money, don't tell me they got him on the cheap. The cornerback spent most of the 2025 season with the Cowboys, where he recorded 25 tackles in 8 games and 6 starts before he was placed on injured reserve due to a concussion and knee injury. Diggs was then activated from IR shortly before he was released by the Cowboys ahead of Week 18. NFL Network's Tom Pelissero reported at the time Diggs' cut was the culmination of multiple factors spread over time, including both performance and other elements. Woohoo! The Cowboys had penalized Diggs ahead of the season with a $500,000 reduction in salary for reported lack of participation in the team's all-season programs. What? Yo, that's crazy. That's a lot of money. You know what? If you respected players, you would never do that. So that tells me that the relationship between him and the Cowboys was probably strained. Or you would never do not one of your core players. You would never do them in that kind of manner and take that kind of money. We're not talking $10,000, $15,000 a bonus. That's $500,000. Diggs was claimed off waivers by the Packers in Week 18, playing 34 combined snaps in one regular season game, and the team's wild card loss to the Chicago Bears before he was released again. Damn. So he only spent a hot minute in Green Bay. The cornerback had 3 years and $57 million in non-guaranteed money remaining on his deal at the time. That move allowed the Packers to free $15.5 million in cap space without taking on any dead cap. That's a good move. Especially if they don't really feel comfortable with him back there. The Cowboys paid out $5.8 million in dead money from their December decision to waive Diggs. Diggs established himself as one of the NFL's top cornerbacks with back-to-back Pro Bowl seasons in 2021 and 2022, including an 11-interception campaign in 2021. Was it lightning in a bottle? Because he needs to get that back if he wants to get this money. His career was derailed by a torn left ACL that held him to just 2 games in 2023. Diggs has been limited to 11 games or fewer in 2 seasons since, and he struggled to limit passing opportunities and coverage in 2025. Let me tell you something. This is why one of the reasons I'm always been a big supporter of NFL players getting guaranteed money versus these other sports that's out there. I'm all about them getting this money because the NFL stands for not for long. And if you're not on your A game and you're not, taking care of your body, things can really happen. Let's get this clock started because, this is kind of crazy, with him going through that. They said that, the Seahawks will now take a chance on bringing in the 27-year-old in hopes that he can bounce back with a healthier campaign in 2026. Now, mind you, this past offseason, the Seattle Seahawks lost Rick Woolen to the Philadelphia Eagles. So he's in Philadelphia right now. So they actually need some help. They can use somebody like him, but they need the 2021, 2022 Trevon Diggs. They don't need the Trevon Diggs of 2025, 2024. They need that guy that can come in there and start being the ball hawk that he was back in them days. Now, when you're bouncing off of an ACL injury, you don't know how he's going to respond. You don't know how his body's going to respond. You don't know what type of shape he's in. I'm pretty sure he takes care of himself, sort of like his brother Stephon. And he probably does all the things that he's supposed to do. But the way him and Micah Parsons left up out of Dallas, it had to be something going on there because I remember him being Micah Parsons' biggest supporter during Micah Parsons' his hold in. He was holding in during camp, like laying around on the tables while they were practicing and all of that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden this blockbuster trade happened, sending Micah to Green Bay. Well, that was a whole change of scenery for him. And then no soon after that, here comes Trevon Diggs. But he didn't stay long. He really, maybe he was just down there for moral support for Micah Parsons, which is nice. But, it would have been nice to see what they could have done down there, if they would stay together and potentially knock Dallas out or compete for a Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? And now all of a sudden he's gone. He's on his way to Seattle. And then Micah Parsons had his injury, his knee injury. And, we don't know what kind of shape he's going to be in. We don't know exactly when he's coming back. But we all know what he does once he's on the field. We know the type of energy and we know the type of numbers that Micah Parsons is going to bring to the game. We know what we're going to get from him. We never seen him in this situation, bouncing off of an injury, but it's unfortunate right now. You know what I'm saying? That he left Dallas and left that whole situation. And I know he loved Dallas, but the way Dallas was treating their players is crazy. How do you take $500,000 from somebody like Trevon Diggs? You must really have a disdain for that player. You know what I mean? Like, was he really like going out his way to try to miss those, those meetings or miss those appointments? Was he really trying to go out of his way? Like, what was going on internally? But it seems like Dallas is always trying to save money, and you know how it is with the owner. Come on. He's always going to let you know that he's the owner. He's always going to let you know that he's the boss. And I don't know. When it comes to this whole entire thing with this money, especially in a violent game as football, I think that the NFLPA and I think that these player association and I think all of these people that's involved, I think they need to have a sit down. And some of this football money needs to be guaranteed. And I'm saying that because they make a lot of money. The NFL makes a lot of money. And I just think that it's enough money there to go around to these players to make sure these players are getting some kind of guaranteed money. I mean, how much more money can these owners make? Like, let's be real. It's enough money to go around where these players can be guaranteed something. I mean, you tear a knee, you get hit the wrong way. Roger Craig, just mentioned some things during his Hall of Fame induction about some things that he's, saying he has dementia. So it's a violent game. It's a violent game. And let me tell you something, we're all sitting front and center every Sunday to see it. Sometimes Monday and sometimes Thursday. We're right there to see it. We're sitting front and center. So don't act like you don't understand these people are moving around like cars. It's like car crashes happening. All I'm saying is it's enough money out there to make sure that these guys and their families are going to be all right for putting their lives on the line. It's no different than a boxer. No different than a boxer. You're putting your life on the line when you go out there on the football field with these athletes that are bigger, faster, and stronger now than ever. And I just think that there's enough money in the pot to make sure that that's going to happen. And a lot of people always say, oh, these athletes make too much money. No, they don't. If you're going to say that, you should say that the owners are making too much money as well. So if you don't know what that revenue is that's coming in from the NFL every year and where that money is going, then you should stay out of the players' pockets if you don't really know what's going on. There's enough money out there where these players should be getting some guaranteed money. It's just that simple. And it's a lot of it out there. So I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about this move by Trevon Diggs going out there to Seattle. I know they're going to need his help. You pairing them up with Devin Witherspoon and Josh Jobe, Nehemiah Pritchett, Shamar Jean, John Charles. Then you got Michael Dansby out there as well and Julian Neal. So, I mean, you put him in this mix, right? I don't know if he's going to be free safety or he's going to play safety. I don't know where they're going to put him out there. I'm pretty sure they're going to, it's going to be hard trying to replace Rick Woolen. Like, let's just start with that. That's a big loss. And if he's chasing a Super Bowl, you go into a team that you're thinking that's going to go back to back, which is a tough thing to do. I don't know if there's a dynasty out there. You know what I mean? I mean, their running back's gone, and it's a tough situation. I mean, I don't know if it was the money that sent them out there. I don't know if you just like the weather out there. I don't know. I don't know what the thought process was with him going there of all places. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers could have used you. And if I'm going to look up to try to find out how much you went for going to Seattle, because I know the Steelers may have had enough money to grab a player like this, but I don't know. I don't know. I think that there's, for somebody like him to get away and go end up all the way in Seattle, and for a team like the Steelers that need a defensive back to not pursue somebody like this, I wonder if it's people behind the scenes like are saying, like, look, you don't want this guy right here. He could be a locker room problem or something. You know how they put those labels on people, man, and these teams run away from them at that time. But you got Julian Love, Ty Okada, you got Nick Emenwari, you got AJ Finley out there, you got Max and Hook, D'Anthony Bell, and you got Bud Clark. So it's interesting to see where he's going to fit in out there. I mean, he's an immediate plug and play type of guy, and he's going to bring some ball hawk skills to that defensive back, to that secondary out there in Seattle. But I mean, damn, it would have been nice if you could have paired him up with Rick Woolen. Why let somebody like that guy go? You're talking about a lockdown, man. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this coming off of an injury. I don't know how I feel about this for Seattle bouncing back right now. I don't know how I feel about this with the Rams, the 49ers, and everybody loading up again out there in the West. This is going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I definitely wish him all the luck, wish him the best I wish him the best out there in his career and on his return back to the gridiron after an injury like that. I'm always going to support players like that. You know what I mean? I always liked his play even when he was in Dallas. That was unfortunate what happened to him down there. But I mean, I'm going to be honest, man. The things that go on in Dallas, man, sometimes it's just crazy. And then these players just end up all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Like even with Rico Dowdle, who used to be a Dallas Cowboy, he's with the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. You know, you just got a lot of people just like all over the place. It just doesn't seem like they treat their players like, you know, with the type of respect that you would think for somebody that calls themselves America's team. So I don't know. I wish Michael Parsons the best. I wish him the best as well. I would love to see him have a breakout season, and it's unfortunate with him too, with the Green Bay giving away some of their players. You know, like Dontavian Wicks. He's in Philadelphia right now. So I mean, you know, it's a little weird. It's a little strange with some of these teams. You know, you want to keep those units together. You know, if you're winning with that team and you're trying to run off a dynasty, re-sign them players. Find a way to keep them on the roster, man. Don't have them all buzzing all around and running all around and teams changing. So I don't know. I think Green Bay, in my opinion, has taken a step backwards. I love Jordan Love, but I just think that they've taken a step backwards with some of the talent that they've lost. But maybe I'm wrong, you know. Maybe I'm wrong. You know, it's a funny league. This league is funny out there. You know, it's on any given Sunday. And, you know, at the end of the year, you just got to see who's there and see who's playing the hottest football at that time. And that's normally ones that's when the cream rises to the top. So we'll see, man. But hey, Trevon Diggs, I wish you the best in Seattle. You're a great athlete, great football player. I look forward to seeing you getting back out there. I'm pretty sure you put the work in. Let's see if you can get back to those to those ball hawking skills, man, and get close to them 11 interceptions again, man, and picks, man. See if you can do it, man. So shout out to you, man. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already done so, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thumb up this video, share it with somebody, and get down in the comments. Let's have a conversation. How you guys feel about Trevon Diggs going to the Seattle Seahawks for an undisclosed amount? We just know that they were under the cap. They had enough money to sign him. I'm curious how much he went for. I wonder if they got him on the cheap, man. I don't know. But let me know down below. I'll see you guys there. So until the next episode of the Scoreboard Keepers, I'm your host, the Ref. God bless. Peace. See you guys on the next episode. Congratulations, Trevon Diggs, on your return.